Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to an absolutely awesome episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Buckle up, folks, because we're welcoming back the magnetic force of nature herself. You already know her as the two-time New York Times bestselling author who taught us to quantum leap our lives. And today she's flowing back onto the mic with her brand new book, Flow Factor. If you're ready to stop paddling upstream and start riding the current of success, then plug in and turn up the volume, folks, because Christy Whitman is back in the house on Thrive Loud. Hi, Christy.
Hi. So happy to be with you, Lou. Hi, everybody.
This is fun. Christy and I it's been a minute. We were just like recanting that we seem to get together like every 3 or 4 years. And that seems to line up very nicely with the work that she's doing.
It always happens to be when my books come out. Isn't that amazing?
You know what? From the first time she came on and I was like, oh my God, this person's like superhuman amazing, to she's got an interesting take on how to look at things and how to think of things and how to lead, how to be. And, you know, at the Thrive Loud podcast, we're all about speaking easy and stepping in how to be. You've nailed a lot of it. So here's what I want to do, Christy, for our listeners to catch up with you a little. Let's do a quantum leap and let's go from one space from there. How did the flow factor come to be?
Well, it's interesting. After I wrote my last book, The Desire Factor, I was like, I'm done. This is my 6th book. We're done here. And I had a university come to me and say that, we'd like you to have a PhD at our university in your public works. And I thought, ooh, that'd be cool. Dr. Christy, right? Get a PhD. And as I was starting to go through that process, really the question was, what haven't you said yet? What do people need to know? Like, what would be the next version of what you've been teaching for 25 years? And what would be the pieces that you haven't been able to bring forth? And so that came into, as all of my books do, came into the flow factor, which is really about, okay, now that you know how to tap into quantum success, now that you know how to, create what you want and manifest with energy, what happens afterwards? Because the fact is that there's so many things in our lives that can take us out of flow. And so what is flow? How do we, as a human being, know when we're in it, when we're out of it? And what are the mechanisms to actually stay in it? And really, it's about energy mastery. We all have to manage our own and master our own energy. And so that's where this book, came into fruition. And as I started going down that educational road of going to get my PhD, I decided, no, I don't want to write a thesis. I'm just going to turn this into a book. And so that's what we did.
So we've had a whole bunch of folks. I'm going to go over the last couple of years. I'm not going to get every one of these other authors or leaders into this. We've had the author of Idea Flow, who came over from Stanford University. We had Flow State. We've had people who've talked about being in the zone or in this productive method that we're in. And I'll even go back to a window of time where literally every guest that came on Thrive Loud was telling me that they were meditating, and I felt like incredible FOMO because I just could never get into that state, to help them enable themselves to pull the arrow back so that they can focus and get into a flow, whether a workflow or a creative throw, whatever it might be. I want to know what it means to you to be in this flow factor, what that feels like, what it looks like in your world, and what that means specifically to you. Because I want to state the one thing that I have come up with is that it could be many different things for many different people on the productivity component of it, but we all kind of understand that there's some kind of incredible thriving going on in that zone. But to Christy Whitman, what does that look like?
Well, for me, it means that we have this source of flow, whether you want to call it the divine energy, our soul. We have energetics that are available to us. And I like to think of it as like you're a piano player, and that we have all those different keys on the piano. We are the ones with free will and choice which keys we want to play. And when we choose to be in the flow of success, for example, or peace or contentment or joy, whatever that key is, that vibration that we're choosing to connect with, that exists already. It's full of pure potentiality, one of the 7 essential laws that I've been talking about and teaching about for over 25 years. And so knowing that that energy of joy, success, whatever exists, it's up to us, human being that has free will and choice, either to recognize we're in flow and to stay in flow, or to get out of it. Now, what is flow? Flow feels good. That's like the bottom line cliff note version that I can say. We feel free. We feel things are ease. It's not easy, but it's in that flow of ease where you feel like, next step leads to the next step. You think about a person and they call, you're like, oh, I want something, and then it manifests. That's flow. And what I like to call is alignment. And there's so many times we are out of flow. And the reason is because there is contrast, meaning what we do not want. It could look like someone, yells at you on the phone and you're like, what? Or, all of a sudden, literally at dinner last night, we were at a sushi restaurant. My husband was trying to be helpful and he moved a plate and got literally sticky juice all over me inside my purse. That's not being in flow, right? So contrasting situations, whether it's something happens in weather or political or in our family or finances, contrast is what we do not want. And if we stay focused on the contrast, what's not working, we get out of flow. Because contrast is part of our human experience, but resistance to contrast is optional. And so we are part animal, right? I give an example. My dog, I have a casita that comes from my main house to the casita. And I always say to him, okay, stay on the path, right? And he's like, okay, because he likes to be in here with me. One day I opened up the door and there was a bunny rabbit, and without even thinking about it, he took off. And I'm thinking, I'm never going to see my dog again. I mean, he just went and went. It wasn't because he doesn't love me. It's not because he's not a good dog or he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. His animal instinct just kicked in. And a lot of times we, as human beings, we have that animalistic part. We've learned that fight, flight, freeze, right? It's a normal, natural response in coping. And when that kicks in, it's at the lower part of our animalistic type of brain. But the higher mind and the intuition and all the things that lead us to connect with flow, in that moment, it's not an option. We're either fighting or resisting something. We're like stuck and in freeze mode, like the bunny rabbits I see. I'm like, I still see you, even though you're like, or the way where we're like, I got to do more, be more, I got to get out of here, in that flee kind of mode, right? That flight kind of mode. So flow is another option for us. And the biggest piece is that when you understand that there are 3 different separate states of being, right? I've been talking about the law of sufficiency and abundance forever. And lack is one of those first buckets, if you will, or for states of being. And that's where all of the negative emotions, let's call it that, or lower level emotions that don't feel good as a human, anyway, from powerlessness to boredom, anywhere from I'm angry, I'm afraid, I'm fearful, there's doubt. That all comes from lack. And then on the other side of the spectrum is abundance. That's where all of the good feelings, like the notes on the keyboard, right? Again, or the piano, the abundance feels good, right? Lack feels bad, abundance feels good. But many people can't go from that to that. It's too big of a jump. It's too big of a leap. And so flow comes in where we can find that middle ground, where we can find the contentment, where we can go, I'm okay, right? And give ourselves compassion, find some satisfaction. That opens the doorway to abundance, but most people don't know how to do it, and they stay stuck in that fight mode, flight mode, or even freeze mode. and they stay stuck in the energy, no matter how hard, if they meditate all day long, or how many affirmations they do, or how many visualizations they do. It's like a cord brings them back into that place. And that's where we're not in flow.
Yeah.
And so to get in flow, we must come back into that neutrality, which is really compassion, not for others, for ourselves.
So it's very funny because we've had the discussion here many times on the show, as you and I have had many of these. You can be in the flow of a conversation when you're connecting with another individual. The effortlessness, the "it feels good" lines that you're making here of, I've argued that, quenching a thirst, sometimes you need a good conversation. And by the way, it doesn't just have to be virtually like we're doing here. A lot of times it needs to be in person, or you get to see and feel those other emotions. So we get the fact that certain activities and things that we do can enable us to get into the flow of that activity.
Yes.
Here's something, though, that I want to ask you. And that is, I love pizza. I could eat pizza all day long. And I know I'm in my happy place and it feels good when I eat pizza. But pretty gosh darn sure that if I ate pizza every single living minute of the world, there wouldn't be a good flow state feeling in myself. So I think there is a sense of appreciation for not being in flow and to have some of these restrictions, because otherwise we won't be able to step up and have that exceeded flow zone, flow factor going on. Talk to us about maybe that, because one, do you agree with me that there's kind of an importance that you can't always be in it, even though you might have access to it? It's almost the sense of appreciation. As much as I love that slice of pizza, I recognize that there's certain times I will appreciate and like it more and feel better with it. True, Christy Whitman?
Totally true, Lou. If you are constantly eating pizza, you would not appreciate it as much as the times when you know you're going to eat it and you're going to look forward to it, right? Contrast, like I've been talking about, that is the indication that we're out of flow, but it's also an indication that when now we can look at, okay, if this is what I don't want, what do I want? And I always say, ask yourself 3 questions to be able to get yourself back in it. Is what do you want? Why do you want it? And how do you want to feel? Right? When you're eating pizza, when you're with your lover, when you're, killing it at work, when you're making money, whatever it is that feels good, we're not constantly doing that same thing. There's movement, there's influx, right? There's up, there's down, there's in, there's out, there's having, there's not having, there's polarity. And so having like something constantly, we won't appreciate it, but it's when the opposite happens, like the opposite of it, that's when we can dial it back in, or we get into that state of appreciation, or don't have something now, but I look forward to getting it later, right?
Yeah. I was just, one of my favorite activities is to play golf. And a lot of the sense and there's a Zen-like component to this game, where there is a rhythm to, being in flow and having the right swing at a certain time. And sometimes you're a little off or a little rusty. And by the way, there's a lot of things that maybe are out of your control, but even the sense of appreciating it in itself, there's been lots of books and movies and things about all this stuff, playing this silly little game, playing a white ball. But your comment about the feeling good part is the craziest thing. You know what it likes to have that good swing. You know what it like to have that wonderful connection with your lover. You know what it's like to have a great conversation. You know what it's like when everything is gelling at work. I'm going to spin it back on you, Christy, now. You obviously focus on this and trying to understand the energy that's there, which means that what the definition is what feels good for you is what I'm most curious about with your writing, your teaching, your speaking, your all the different stuff that you do in the brand of Christy Whitman. What makes you feel the most good, the most in flow, if you would? What is that activity that you enjoy the most today?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many. I mean, when I'm teaching a class, or when right now I'm doing a challenge, right, or the book, when I know that someone reads that book and it makes a difference, like when my publisher said, listen, I've read gazillions of books, And I've been in the business for 35 years, but your book and what you wrote has completely changed my life, and I will never see life the same way again. I'm like, that's it, right? When I've literally, people actually write me snail mail, and I get these letters of appreciation that I changed their lives, or I didn't change their lives, they changed their lives, but I helped them change their lives. And what they learned, or, what I said, or maybe a story that I shared, that brings such joy. When I can look at my husband and, receive just an awesome hug from him, those moments are like, I got to say, I'm 54, right? And I go to Pilates class. One of my guilty pleasures, and I love it, is going to Pilates class. And there are girls that are in there, they're in their 20s. And I got to say that when I am like killing it and I look over and they're stopping and I still keep going, I feel really strong. And I'm like, yeah, not comparing myself to them, but it's like, I'm killing it here. And I leave there feeling stronger. I leave there feeling more positive. I feel like I'm more connected. So I could go on to meditating, rock concerts. I'm a rocker. Like, I just called up a girlfriend and I'm like, hey, Tesla's coming to town. You want to go? And she's like, yeah. We had the best time, at a concert together, just being two silly girls, rocker girls, and having a good time belting out these songs and giggling and laughing together. So the more you look for things to please you in life, and the more you appreciate, the more you're going to have joy, the more you're going to have pleasure. And that's the whole thing, is that if we're stuck in our, fight mode or flight mode, or even just that freeze mode, I'm stuck, I can't move, the thoughts that we say. In the book, I talk about there's 5 aspects to our consciousness. It's the words that we say. Like, the words have creative power, and the words lead to thoughts, and the thoughts lead to our perspectives, and that all leads to our emotions. And then it leads to the actions that we take. If we're in any one of those spaces, if we're saying words like I can, or I have to, or I should, those rob us of our joy, because they go into that first bucket, right? They're from that lack, from that scarcity, from that limitation bucket, which whenever we are there, we do not feel good. We all know people that they barely have anything in their lives, but they can be so joyful. They could find just the simplest things. Yeah. And then we could see others who they have everything and they complain and they don't appreciate. So it's not about what you have. It's about what you have inside and the connection that you have to either pleasure and joy, and knowing that there's potential, and that you matter, and that we're enough, and all of those things. They go into being able to experience this life. It's our life. Like you just said it before we pushed record. It's like, we're only here for a short period of time. We might as well enjoy it, right? And it's always our choice, free will and choice.
Christy, this is going to be a fun one. I'm going to ask this question as it relates to the fact of what you said, like, all right, I'm going to write another book. Because for those of us who've written books, we know there is definitely a component to writing the book that definitely does not put you into the flow factor. But I want to know, when you were writing, what got you into the flow of writing flow factor? What did you need to do? What was the environment you needed to be in? I'm sure it was different from every book and every different point of your life, but tell me how we stepped into flow for flow factor.
Well, I got to tell you, every book that I write comes through me. And so it's like, I get inspired where I'm like, I need a pen, right? I have to be walking around with a journal and pen, because just stuff download through me. And so that's part of my process. And then because I was resistant to writing another book, right, I had to go through what I'm talking about here. It's like, wait a minute, this is wanting to be birthed through me. This is something that is going to help most people that don't understand this and stay stuck in their own fighting, in their own resistance, in their own, I got to speed it up and do more, bigger, greater, this is going to help someone. And because that's my passion and my purpose, that's why I feel like I'm here, to, of course, enjoy my life, but also I feel so connected with what I do, that brought inspiration, so that it lessened the resistance. I'm also going to say this from a practical perspective. I don't put anything on my calendar or in my project list of anything that I don't like to do, but there's elements to it. So for me, I'm not the kind of person that I want to look at every sentence and check the grammar and dot the cross the T's and dot the I's. That's not me. I'm a channeler. I bring that. I'm a teacher. I have direct communication. I mean, that's what I love doing, and that's where my genius is. So I have an editor where it's like, okay, this needs to go into the book. This story needs to be in the book, like that's connected. And then she would do that, because that for me is like doing taxes or bookkeeping. I'd rather pull out my eyelashes one by one. That would be more fun than me doing that, right? Totally. So I hire a bookkeeper. I hire an accountant. I'm not about to try to put myself, I did that earlier in my business where I was trying to do it. And I was like, oh my God, I would get in such a bad mood that it was like so much easier to hire someone to do that so I can focus on my genius, because that's how I stay in flow.
Totally get you. I'm gonna go one more double click down before we get to the admin and the fun part of the show. I just had a conversation with the legend John C. Maxwell, great leadership writer who's written close to 34 books, I think is what we're up to now.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. He writes one every December. It's like he writes it in December, it cranks out. And he said that he always has, call it an avatar or a certain person in mind and who he's writing the book for. While I know your work all the way from the beginning till now can accomplish and help so many people, did Flow Factor have a specific type of person or avatar in mind for who you're writing it for?
Yes, I always say that this book is for one of my clients. Her name is Jackie. She's in her mid-50s. She's married. She has an adult child. She is successful in her business. She's an entrepreneur. She's very eager to just have a deeper connection to her greater self, and to make it part of her daily practice, and to understand that she is human and also divine. And how do you marry those two? How do you master your energy? And so she's eager to, know processes and how to apply this to her daily life. And she's all about fun. She wants to bring pleasure to her lives, and she wants to have adventure. And so, yes, this Jackie is definitely a real person. And she's definitely the inspiration for this book.
Let's do it, Christy. The admin part of the show, so we can really hop on over to Fun Street. Share with listeners all the places people can find you, Flow Factor, everything. We'll put it in the show notes. It gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
Perfect. So you go to flowfactorbook.com. You'll find all the information on the book there. I would definitely recommend going to watchyourwords.com. This is where it's a free 30-day program. It's a video program, 2 to 3 minutes a day, where I tell you what not to say, because it comes from lack, why, and what to say instead. And that has helped, hundreds of thousands of people be able to change how they feel, what they manifest by watching and shifting their words. So watchyourwords.com, and of course, ChristyWhitman.com.
I've been waiting at least 30 some odd minutes here to ask this particular question. Are you ready to go down Fun Street with me here?
I am.
She is. She's always so much fun. All right. So we're going to ease on to Fun Street here, kind of like cruise onto the highway, if you would, with this question that I may have asked you in the past. So we're going to kind of veer it a little bit differently. Of late, does Christy Whitman have either a streaming show or something that's like her little guilty pleasure that she's tapped into and watched?
Yes, and I can't wait literally, I'm so excited for the next season. Emily in Paris, I love that one because, I kind of was a little Emily in Paris, but when I met my husband, he lived in Montreal, and I moved to Montreal, and I remember the first time I even went to go pump gas, everything's in French. I don't know anything, right? And so it's just fun. It was fun watching her create these adventures and meet guys and all this. And of course, the fashion. I'm a big fashion girl, so I love that show.
Awesome. So we're going to go on to Fun Street, and we're going to do the little speakeasy pub crawl. We are stopping off at all the cool, fun, hip places that mean the most to Christy. Here we go. So we're strolling down the street here, and there's a song that's playing on your head. Something of late, Christy. What's been your jam? A song that's been in your brain or something you've been listening to?
Oh, I don't even know if I could say it. It's from Doja Cat.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, I'm a bitch. I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, and I shine like gloss.
I love it. I love it. We just had that happen here, folks. We got that on video. For those who are listening on the audio version of this episode, please go make sure you watch the YouTube and check this video out, or on Spotify, wherever we're putting it. All right. A favorite food that is not a dessert?
Pasta, always.
Favorite dessert?
I would say ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
An activity you wish you did more of?
You know, probably dancing. Going out and dancing.
Like club
Yeah.
dancing? We're talking
Not
like couples dancing.
Couples dancing, just like being around, and like I had a girlfriend appreciation lunch back this winter, and I hired 80s band, and I had the grass area. We had a stage and a what do you call that, dance floor, and they played 80s music, and I don't think I stopped. I mean, from the minute they started to the minute they ended, it was so much fun having all my best girlfriends there. We giggled and danced. I was sore the next day. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember ever being this sore after dancing, my hips, my back, but it was so worth it. So I wish I did more of that.
Okay. How about an activity you wish you did less of?
Talking to my mother.
Is that right? I was literally saying, Christy's going to say, I need to take that out of the episode. I know she's going to say, I need
No,
to
it's fine.
No, it's amazing.
It's real.
Oh my God. A new activity that Christy Whitman has recently tried that she likes so much, she wants to tell all these listeners and viewers to try.
Gosh, a new activity. Well, Pilates isn't new, but it's such a passion of mine. I just love it so much. And especially at the age and stage that I'm at in my life, it's like, it just brings strength. And, I've been working out. It's part of my weekly, I work out 5 days a week. And I just love Pilates. I just love every part of it.
Who's the, Eliza Schlesinger, the comedian, she's like massively into it. Like she's got the machine and everything. And my wife does a class that is certainly a lesser version of that. I keep getting lectures that I need to be working more on my core on this stuff. I'm just going to stick to the stuff I'm doing, which is,
there you go.
Okay.
All I know is my husband came one time with me to Pilates, and he had to take a 3-hour nap. So it doesn't mess around. I mean, it's Pilates is not for,
Hey,
yeah.
when hot yoga came back and came out and I was like single in my 20s living in New York City and I went to a class, it was worth going to. I would not be able to do it again. Yes, physically and just too much going on.
I can't do anything hot like that.
Yeah.
Nah.
Too much sweat going on. If I could snap my fingers and Christy Whitman could be anywhere in the world, where is she?
Italy.
I could dig
Italy.
with having the pasta that she wants to have so much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Being
Any part of Italy. I don't care what city it is. Anywhere in Italy.
I love it. Everybody check it out. The Flow Factor. First of all, it's so great to reconnect and catch up with you and get into the flow here on Thrive Loud, and continued success to you and everything. Everyone go check out the links. Go get this stuff. Make it clear. There's pretenders and contenders. This is the champ. Okay, so just go right here and go check it out. Christy Whitman, always great to have you on Thrive Loud.
Thank you, Lou. Thanks, everyone.
To all our listeners and viewers out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.